गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ईशावास्योपनिषद मंत्र 4। अनेजदेकं मनसो जवीयो नैनद्देवा आप्नुवन् पूर्वमर्षत् तद्धावतोऽन्यानत्येति तिष्ठत् तस्मिन्नपो मातरिश्वा दधाति तद्धावतः अन्यान् अत्येति तिष्ठत् तत् तिष्ठतः अन्यान् अत्येति। The Atma Tattva. Atma is Paramatma. There is no difference between Atma and Paramatma. In some places, some of you might have heard that Atma is different from Paramatma. It is not so. What you call Atma is nothing but Paramatma. Parama is an adjective. The adjective does not change the substance. Then why the adjective? The adjective describes the substance. Paramascha asau atma cha paramatma. He is a parama. Parama means supreme. Atma is supreme. It is infinite. There is nothing greater than Atma. Therefore, it is called a Paramatma. The Paramatma is free from movements. Therefore, the Upanishad describes Paramatma as a Tishthat. There is no movement. Where do you see movement? When something is limited in space, it can move from one place to another place. To move from one place to another place, it should not be there already in one place. If I say, I am going to Hyderabad, that means I am not there in Hyderabad yet. If I am already in Hyderabad, I cannot go to Hyderabad. The Atma is everywhere. If it is Atma is everywhere, it cannot go anywhere. Therefore, free from movements, tishthat, anyan dhavatah atyeti, as though it overtakes everything that is running. Dhavatah. And Shankaracharya adds an iva. Atyeti iva. As though it overtakes. Implying that the Atma seems to have movements. The Atma seems to have changes. The changeless seems to have changes. To an ignorant person, when I say ignorant, he may not be ignorant from the material standpoint of view. He may be a highly accomplished, highly learned, highly educated person. But from the standpoint of the Paramartha, from the standpoint of the absolute truth, he might be ignorant. He may have PhD. Despite having PhD, he may be illiterate from the standpoint of Atma. It is possible. Many people get PhD. Some people honestly work and get PhD, whereas some people pay money and get PhD. We don't know how they get, but many people get PhD. Many people get university degrees. Many people start their YouTube channel. But that does not mean they have got Atmajnana. Atmajnana is a rare commodity. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschin mam veti tattvataha. Very rare. So, for an ignorant one, the Atma appears to have movements, but in reality, the Atma is free from movements. How is it possible? The one that doesn't have movement appears to have movements. How is it possible? The Vedanta explains this with the two examples. दृश्यते जलचंद्रवत, जलचंद्र दृष्टांत और जल सूर्य दृष्टांत. It is one example. You keep a pot of water at night, full moon night, Purnima. There is full moon, sky is clear, the moon reflects in the water. Now you move the water. When you move the water, even the moon seems to have movement. What is moving? The water is moving. Along with the water, the reflection of the moon is moving. The original moon is not moving. Yet, a child might think that the moon has moved. It is one example. Then there is another example of space. There is a pot and the space is enclosed in the pot. As the pot moves, even the space seems to have movements. But the space is not moving. It is free from all movements. Likewise, the Atma reflects in the body. It is called Upadhi. The body, the mind, the senses, they are all collectively called Upadhi. Upasamipe sthitva swagunan adadhati iti upadhi. What is Upadhi? Upa means it stands close by and it projects its qualities. Then it is called Upadhi. The water which reflects the moon, it's an Upadhi. The water is Upadhi for the moon. What does the water do? The water does not touch the moon. It is not touching the moon. It is absolutely external to the moon. Yet, it distorts the nature of the moon as it were, causes an apparent distortion in the nature of the moon. Causes an apparent distortion, not a real distortion. An apparent distortion is created by the water. If the water is muddy, the moon also seems to be muddy. If the water is shaky, even the moon seems to be shaky. Therefore, the water causes an apparent distortion in the moon by projecting its qualities on the moon. That is called upadhi. Upadhi is an external agent that projects its qualities and causes an apparent distortion. So water is the upadhi. Likewise, pot is an upadhi for space. The space is infinite. It is not confined to anything. Yet, because of the pot, the space seems to be confined, limited space. Have you thought about this word, limited space? Limited space. Space is not limited. There is much more space outside. But we say it is limited. So what limits the space? It is the upadhi, the pot. Likewise, this body, this mind, senses, all these act as upadhi. In fact, they don't touch the Atma. Neither the body touches the Atma, nor the mind touches the Atma, nor the senses touch the Atma. They are external to the nature of Atma. Yet, because of their presence, the Atma seems confined, the Atma seems limited, the Atma seems subject to changes. Therefore, they are upadhi. And because of the movement of the upadhi, the Atma seems to have movements as also. My body is moving from one place to another place. When my body moves, me, the Atma, also seems to have moved. But my true self, the Atma, it is free from movements. It is Nischala. What has moved? The body has moved. When the body has moved, the reflection of the Atma has moved. Then it seems as though the Atma also has movement. Therefore, Tishtat Dhāvataha Anyan Atyeti Iva. Only movement is mentioned here. We have to understand so many other attributes. So many other attributes are superimposed on the Atma. by the upadhi, the limitation. Limitation is superimposed on the Atma. Because of the body, because of the limitations of the body, the Atma seems to be limited. The infinite Atma seems to be finite. It is because of upadhi. The limitations of the upadhi are superimposed on the Atma. Then there is multitude. Atma is one without a second. Ekameva dvitiyam. But then there are many upadhis. This is one upadhi. That is another upadhi. There are over 20 upadhis sitting here. Over 20 upadhis are visible. Then there are many upadhis which are invisible. Like so many bacteria are there, so many amoeba are there. All these are upadhis. The same Atma is reflecting in all the upadhis. Just like the same moon is reflecting in many water bodies, the same Atma is reflecting in all the upadhis. Then the Atma seems to be many in number. One appears to be many. Manyness is superimposed on the non-many. Dvaita is superimposed on the Advaita because of the upadhi. Then all the attributes, all the problems, they are all superimposed. The doership is superimposed. I am the doer. I am the enjoyer. Where is the doer? The doer is in the upadhi, the mind. When I have the I thought, I identification, it is responsible for the doership and enjoyership. Tatraham pratyayi karta. Vidyaranya says, Tatraham pratyayi kartetyevam lokavyavasthitihi. The I thought is responsible. What is really doing? Guna guneshu vartante. The body and mind, they are doing many works. All actions happen in the body and mind, and of course senses. Even when I am speaking, what is speaking? What is involved in the very action of speaking? If you think it is my vocal system, My prana is involved. My prana, my vagindriya, the vocal system is called vagindriya, prana, and my mind, my buddhi, because buddhi is telling my vagindriya what to speak. So that is what really speaking. The Atma is not speaking. Atma cannot speak. Atma cannot walk also. Why Atma cannot speak? It is free from all indriyas. It is free from all activities, free from all changes. Therefore, Atma cannot speak. It is the Vagindriya which speaks. But then I have the identification. I identify with my vocal cord. And then I say, I am speaking. The true I, the one that really deserves to be called I, is never speaking. But when I have the I identification with the Vagindriya, with the Buddhi, with the Prana, with the Upadhi, then I say I am speaking. The identification with the Upadhi is responsible for doership. It makes you a doer. And so does it make you an enjoyer. You become a doer and enjoyer. And when you become a doer and enjoyer, all the problems start. In fact, all problems are because of doership and enjoyership. Kartrutva and bhoktrutva. Kartrutva and bhoktrutva are responsible for samsara. As a doer, I have my own lot of samsara. The doership brings in the feeling of guilt. Doership is associated with the feeling of guilt. I did this wrong, I did that wrong. It is guilt. I made many mistakes. Guilt. And guilt keeps us, make us repent. All our life. That is why Ishavasyopanishad says, this gentleman in his old age, he repents. Kimaham sadhuna karavam, kimaham papamakaravamiti. He repents. Why I did not do good things? Kimaham sadhuna karavam, kimaham papamakaravamiti. Why I did do papa? He repents. What is this repentance? It is guilt. Guilt of omission and commission. Guilt of omission means not doing the right thing at the right time. I didn't do right thing at the right time. I missed the chance. It is guilt of omission. And then there is guilt of commission. I did the wrong thing. Doing the wrong thing is another guilt. So, kimaham papamakaravamiti. So, kartrutva, doership, creates guilt. And then there is bhoktrutva, enjoyership. Enjoyership creates hurt. All the hurt that we have, it is because of identifying ourselves at the receiving end. I am the receiver of so many experiences. I am the receiver of pleasure and pain, makes us subject to hurt. And if we see our life, if we analyze our life, all our complaints, every complaint that we have, it is associated with the hurt and guilt. Therefore, it is associated with the doership and enjoyership, kartrutva and bhoktrutva. Every complaint that we have is associated with the kartrutva and bhoktrutva. And all the complaints that we have, in Vedanta we have a name for it. Generally we call complaints. In Vedanta it is called samsara. All the complaints. Sometimes we tell others, sometimes the grumbling happens within ourselves. Sometimes it is only at the mental level. Sometimes it comes to verbal level, the samsara. That is why it is called samsara in Malayalam. In Malayalam, samsarikunadu means speaking. I don't know how many of you know Malayalam here. I don't see many anyway. So then it becomes the samsara of Malayalam when it comes to the verbal level. And when it becomes to the physical level, it becomes samsara of Kannada and Tamil. So externally, samsara means family. Just joking. So then the complaint comes to the verbal level. You start telling others. And then start shedding tears. It can come to the physical level also. So all our complaints, samsara, is associated with hurt and guilt, associated with the doership and enjoyership, And who has the doership and enjoyership? The Atma is free from doership and enjoyership. Therefore, the Atma is asamsari, being free from kartrutva and bhoktrutva. The Atma is asamsari, free from samsara, free from all complaints. And the Upanishad is revealing that kind of Atma as our true self. You are asamsari. The Upanishad is repeatedly saying the same thing. You are asamsari. Then this person is asking, if I am asamsari, then why I have samsara? That is what Shruti is telling. Because of upadhi, you have superimposed samsara on the asamsari Atma. Because of the upadhi, the asamsari Atma appears to be samsari. Therefore, you are as though samsari. All my samsara is as though. Asamsara is not as though. My true self is asamsari, but the samsara is as though. But the as though samsara has become real to me. Why? Because of ignorance. Because of ignorance, the as though has become real in my understanding. There is no problem in as though, but there is problem when the as though becomes real. There is nothing wrong in acting as a beggar. This rich actor who gets paid crores of money, he acts as a beggar. Is there any problem in that? The actor's wife or children, do they find any problem in that? When he becomes a beggar on the stage, they don't find any problem, because they know very well that he is going to be paid 1 crore more for becoming a beggar. Therefore, there is nothing wrong in being a beggar as though. But after the play is over, if he doesn't return back to his normal, then there is a problem. If he thinks I am really a beggar and remains a beggar, then it is a problem. The ignorance, the ajnana makes you think that the samsara is real. All the attributes superimposed by the upadhi are real. That is where the problem starts. And the Vedanta Shastra addresses this ignorance. Your samsara is not real. It is as though. All your movements are as though. However fast you run, it is as though. Tadhavatonyaan atyeti. It is as though. All that you are doing, it is as though. Because yourself is free from all movements. Tishthat. Then another part of this mantra, tasminnapo matarishva dadhati. This part of the mantra describes the Paramatma in the role of Ishvara. The Paramatma himself is everything. In fact, he is present in many roles. The Paramatma is present in the role of the Jiva also. In all roles there is Paramatma. He is playing many roles. Every individual is nothing but a role of Paramatma. Because the same Paramatma is there in the form of this individual, in the form of that individual, in every individual. Likewise, the same Paramatma is in the role of Ishvara, the sustainer of the universe. It is described by this part of the mantra. Tasminnapo matarishva dadhati. Tasmin, in his presence. Matarishva. Matarishva literally means air, vayu. In this context, it means Hiranyagarbha. There is something called Hiranyagarbha. In the Srishti, in the creation, we all have our mind, individual mind. And the individual mind is responsible for all that we do at the individual level. What I should eat, what I should drink, everything is decided by our individual mind. My mind decides what I should eat, what I should speak, what I should drink. What decides? My mind. Then the Shastra reveals that There is a mind at the cosmic level. There is a mind at the universal level. The universal mind. And all our minds are associated with the universal mind. Just like all your mobile phones and all your computers, they are connected with one universal network, internet. Your smartphone or your computer, nothing is a closed compartment. Therefore, don't think you have privacy. You don't have privacy. Everything that you do in your smartphone, the Google knows. Everything is with Google, all your data. So there is no much privacy nowadays. We think we have a lot of privacy, but it is the other way around. We have lost our privacy. Because our heart and soul is the smartphone nowadays. And we have kept all our secret in the smartphone, including the bank account. Every secret is there in the smartphone. And the smartphone is connected with the internet. So many people are accessing, we don't know how many people are accessing it. Likewise, even our minds, we think they are closed, airtight compartments. But it is not so. Our minds, all our minds are connected with the universal mind. It is like the internet at the mind level. It is called Hiranyagarbha. And we can have some indications to know how our minds are interconnected. Most often you might have felt what you are thinking. Another person is also thinking the same without communication. Why does it happen? Because our mind is not closed. All are interconnected. That is why mind reading, telepathy, all these are possible. And the Yoga Shastra teaches us how to access the other people's mind. In the Yoga Shastra, there are techniques. How to access the other person's mind. You can learn in Yoga Shastra. If you are interested, please let me know. So what I mean to say is that there is a cosmic mind which includes all our individual minds. And it is called Hiranyagarbha. At the individual level, as our mind determines what to do, what not to do, all the activities are decided by my individual mind at the individual level. Likewise, at the cosmic level, at the universal level, there is a mind that determines what has to be done at the universal level. When the monsoon has to come, when the monsoon wind has to blow, who decides? We are not deciding. There is somebody else deciding, and that is the cosmic mind, and that is called Hiranyagarbha. It is Hiranyagarbha who decides whether monsoon should come 3 days in advance or 3 days late. What I mean to say, Hiranyagarbha is responsible for sustaining the universal forces, the natural forces in the universe. They are sustained by Hiranyagarbha. So, Matarishva Apaha Dadhati. Apaha means, Apaha literally means water. And in this context, Shankaracharya interprets Apaha as karmani, various works, various activities in the universe at the cosmic level. Dadhati, sustains. The Hiranyagarbha sustains all the activities at the cosmic level. Like the rising of the sun, rising and setting of the sun, blowing of wind, rotation of the earth, and so many activities are happening. Who is sustaining them? Matarishva. Hiranyagarbha is sustaining all of them. And the Shruti, the Upanishad says, it is not just Hiranyagarbha. Even the Hiranyagarbha cannot do anything without the blessing of the Paramatma. Without the gracious presence of the Paramatma, the Hiranyagarbha cannot move an inch. Therefore, Tasmin, in his presence, in the gracious presence of the Paramatma, Hiranyagarbha, Matarishva, Apaha Dadhati, he sustains all the activities. He sustains the universe. Therefore, the Paramatma is responsible for the sustenance of the universe. He is the sustainer of the universe. In fact, that is the meaning of the word Om. What is Om? Om is avarakshane dhatu. Avati iti Om. The word Om is derived from the root avarakshane plus man. Man is in the sense of karta, doer. Therefore, Om means the sustainer. One who sustains the universe. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Shishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ